Princess Zara Thrax of the Corvellian Empire had always considered her human husband, Marcus Chen, to be charmingly fragile. In the 3 solar cycles since their diplomatic marriage had united Earth with the sprawling Corvellian territories, she had grown fond of his soft smile, his patience, and what she perceived as his adorable physical limitations. The Corvellians were a proud warrior race, standing nearly 8 feet tall with exoskeletons that could deflect plasma fire. Marcus, at a mere 6 feet with his squishy exterior, seemed almost pet-like in comparison. Zara found it endearing how he needed climate controls, how he tired after their palace walks, how he politely declined to join her family's traditional strength exhibitions. "My delicate flower," she would coo, her translator rendering the Corvellian term of affection into something approximating English. Marcus would simply smile that enigmatic smile and continue his daily routines, exercising in the human quarters, studying Corvellian literature, serving as Earth's quiet ambassador. The royal family tolerated him. Zara's father, Emperor Krathazul, had initially opposed the match, but political necessity had prevailed. Earth's strategic position and surprising technological innovations had made the alliance valuable. Still, Marcus was often the subject of barely concealed disdain at court. During the monthly war councils, he sat silently while Corvellian generals discussed military tactics, his presence more symbolic than practical. Everything changed on the day of the Crimson Revolt. The palace alarms screamed their warning too late. A faction of extremist Corvellian nobles opposed to the human alliance had smuggled weapons past the quantum shields. The throne room erupted into chaos as plasma fire scorched the crystalline walls. Emperor Krathazul fell immediately, his ceremonial armor pierced by a concentrated blast. Zara watched in horror as her brothers, legendary warriors who had conquered star systems, engaged the attackers. But the rebels had brought illegal sonic disruptors, weapons that exploited the Corvellian exoskeleton's resonant frequency. One by one, her siblings collapsed, their armor cracking, their bodies seizing. A rebel commander, General Vexthor, grabbed Zara by her shoulder plating. "The princess will be our leverage," he snarled. "The humans will withdraw or she dies." "I wouldn't do that." The voice was soft, almost conversational. Marcus stood in the doorway of the throne room, still wearing his simple human clothing. He wasn't holding a weapon. He wasn't wearing armor. He looked as always harmless. Vexthor laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "The human pet. I'll kill you after—" He didn't finish the sentence. Marcus moved. Zara's people were fast, their reflexes honed by generations of warfare, their nervous systems operating at speeds that made them blur to most species. But Marcus moved faster, not with the mechanical precision of the Corvellian warriors, but with something fluid and terrifying. His hand struck Vexthor's wrist with a sharp crack. The general's grip released involuntarily. Before the massive Corvellian could react, Marcus had stepped inside his reach, his movements economical and devastating. An elbow to the joint where exoskeleton met softer tissue, a palm strike that sent Vexthor stumbling backward. The other rebels opened fire. Marcus didn't dodge the plasma bolts so much as he wasn't where they were aimed. He moved through the barrage like water flowing around stones, reading trajectories, predicting patterns. His hand shot out and caught a rebel's weapon arm, twisting. The Corvellian, a warrior who had crushed tanks with his bare hands, screamed as his arm broke. Zara stared, her multiple eyes wide with disbelief. Corvellian exoskeletons were nearly unbreakable. Marcus had just snapped one like a dried twig. Another rebel charged, his mass enough to demolish a wall. Marcus sidestepped, grabbed the warrior's momentum, and redirected it. The rebel crashed through a stone pillar. The ceiling groaned ominously. "Everyone out," Marcus commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. "The structure's compromised." For a moment, everyone, rebels and royals alike, simply stared at this human who had just disabled 3 Corvellian super warriors in seconds. Then the ceiling began to crack. Zara tried to move, but her legs wouldn't respond. The sonic disruptor's effects were wearing off slowly. Marcus was at her side instantly, lifting her as if she weighed nothing. She was nearly 8 feet of armored warrior princess, but he carried her like she was made of air. He ran through the collapsing throne room, dodging falling debris that would have crushed him instantly. Behind them, the rebels who could still move scrambled for safety. Marcus burst through the main doors just as the ceiling collapsed entirely. In the courtyard, he gently set Zara down. Palace guards were finally arriving, responding to the alarms. Marcus calmly pointed out which sections of the palace were compromised, where the remaining rebels might be hiding, how to safely extract the wounded royals still inside. Zara stared at her husband, really looked at him. For the first time. You let us think you were weak, she whispered. Marcus met her gaze, and she saw something ancient in his eyes. Humans learned a long time ago that the most dangerous thing in the universe is something that looks harmless, until it isn't. We're persistence predators, Zara. We're not the strongest or the fastest, but we're patient. We adapt, we wait, and when we move... He glanced at the ruined throne room. Well, you saw. Emperor Krathzul being carried on a stretcher had heard everything. Despite his injuries, he laughed, a genuine sound of respect. It seemed he underestimated Earth's greatest weapon. Not your technology. Not your numbers. He looked at Marcus. Your restraint. In the days that followed, as the Crimson Revolt was crushed and order restored, the story spread through the Empire. The human who had seemed so fragile, so harmless, had moved like death incarnate when his family was threatened. Ambassadors from other worlds suddenly became very polite in their negotiations with Earth. Zara never called Marcus her delicate flower again. Instead, when they walked through the rebuilt palace, she held his hand with newfound respect and perhaps a touch of healthy fear. You know, she said one evening, I'm curious what would happen if you actually tried in one of our strength exhibitions. Marcus smiled, that enigmatic smile. Maybe someday. But right now I'm happy just being your harmless human husband. They both knew the truth now, and so did the rest of the galaxy.